I'm still standing better than I ever did. Looking like a true survivor, feeling like a little kid. Don't you know I'm still standing after all this time? Picking up the pieces of my life without you on my mind. I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I didn't think I would do that. There are people out there, Peter, believe it or not, that just can't stand to see other people succeed. You know what I mean? It's just like, why should he get to do this? Why didn't I get this opportunity? Whenever I see Star Trek fans trashing people or slandering people or causing trouble, I think to myself, did you ever even watch Star Trek? Do you not even understand what the foundational philosophy of Star Trek was? Infinite diversity in infinite combinations. Let people be themselves. Let them love what they love. Now, caveat, don't force it down other people's throat. That's where it's wrong. That's where you've taken it too far. And you got these messages from people saying, I can't believe you didn't like this game. You know what I would have written back? What do you care? How is this any of your business? It's not enough that I have to have an opinion. You have to have my opinion too. Why? Because it makes me feel validated.
Hello and welcome to CultureScape, the show that interviews the geek creators and influencers who built nerd culture. I'm your host, Pete Pischke, and boy, do I have a show for you. He's a prolific voice actor with well over 100 roles to his name across anime, TV, film, and video games. A proud Christian and staunch collector of classic Star Trek merch, known across the internet for his voice talents, music, and luscious blonde locks. I have with me the one, the only, VIC MIGNOGNA.
Okay, you never told me you were going to say the blonde locks part.
I appreciate it. I've been having, as I get older, the hair thing, it becomes more and more difficult. So
yes, there, it's all here. It's just under there. Also, I've done over 400 different animated series and video games as opposed to 100.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I wrote well over 100, and 400 is technically over 100.
Well, there are a lot of numbers that are over one. I just wanted to make sure you know how old I am, that I've been in this business for so long. I love that you mentioned my childhood love of Star Trek, and of course my series Star Trek Continues that I executive produced and play Captain Kirk in. But I am yours for the next 60 some minutes, Peter. So what shall we talk about? Apparently I'm the geek on the hot seat today.
Yeah, no, I definitely need to talk about Star Trek. Getting into this, I was just humming your rendition of Dragon Soul for Dragon Ball Z Kai. Yeah, it's catchy.
Wow.
You're quite talented, actually, as a singer. I caught that.
Well, thank you.
The other day, I was like, Vic, you really are quite talented.
Thank you. Tune. You know, I've been writing and producing music, singing, playing the piano, writing, arranging, producing, singing twice as long as I've been voice acting. So that's a long time. Like we're talking 45 years. Music is very close. In fact, I'm in my studio right now. I love writing and producing music.
You did a number of collaborations where you were brought on to do like the English version of anime openings and closings.
Yeah, you know what's funny, Peter? What's funny is that for the longest time, for many, many years and hundreds of anime productions, even though everybody at the studios knew that I did music professionally and sang and produced music, there was kind of this, how do I put it? Very clear line of delineation. You know what I mean? Like there were music things and music people over there, and then there were the voice actors doing their thing over there. And it was several years into my career before somebody said, hey, why don't we have Vic record the lead vocal to this One Piece opening, or this Dragon Ball Kai theme, or Dragon Ball GT, or in high school, or whatever it was. And so I was very, very happy to start kind of overlapping and integrating my love of music and love of singing and recording. And the nice thing is, having a studio, they just send me the track, like karaoke track. And then I can record it here and record all the backup vocals and kind of, do my thing here within the comfort of my own home and just send it back.
Is that something you have to pitch for? Are you at a point in your career where they come to you?
What a great question. I would have to say it goes both ways. There are plenty of people out there that don't know me, have never met me, don't know anything about, my work or my music, and they want to hear an audition, or they want to hear a sample or something. But then, of course, as you say, when you've been in the industry as long as I have, there are plenty of people that you've worked with before on many different things, and they know your capabilities. They know what's in your wheelhouse, so to speak. And so sometimes they'll just call me and say, "Hey, I want you to do this," or bigger shows, even with voice acting. Some of the bigger shows that I was in, I auditioned for like everybody else, and the audition recordings were sent off to the Japanese producers to choose somebody they wanted to play these roles. So even with shows like Fullmetal or Naruto or Bleach, some of those it didn't matter how much experience I had or any of that. It was just I had to audition like everybody else. So a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. I personally, I've gone in a little crotchety with my freelance journalism, where I'm just so lazy. I don't even want to do the pitching anymore. So I'm like, if I could just do the work and then be bothered about getting the work, that would be ideal. But
exactly, I couldn't agree more. And you know what, Peter? As a matter of fact, Tuesday and yesterday, I spent a good portion of the day recording a lead character for an upcoming video game, which I'm very, very excited about. It's been a while since I've gotten to do anything like that, and again, they knew they wanted me to be a part of it, and they sent me 3 different characters that are all equally main characters in the game, and asked me for auditions for all 3 of them. I certainly didn't say, "Do you know who I am?" You know what I mean? Like I don't audition. You know what I mean? I didn't do anything like that. I was like, "Sure, absolutely. In fact, I'm going to send you an audition, and if you don't like what you hear, or if you have some kind of a redirect, you know what I mean? Or I really like what you did here, but can you make him a little older, or can you make him a little smarmier, or can you make him a little more threatening, or can you drop the pitch a little bit, make him a little deeper and more menacing?" So sometimes it doesn't matter how long you've done it. In fact, I just was reading, I hate to waste your time, but it's relevant to what we're talking about. I was reading a story on Facebook last night, about Gladiator. You remember that movie?
I do.
And the guy that played Proximo, the guy who was the head of all the gladiators, the older guy that used to be a gladiator, and then he won his freedom, and now he was like an entertainer, and he brought all the gladiators. He would buy them and sell them like slaves, and then put them in the games and stuff. The guy that played that role is an actor named Oliver Reed. Well, Oliver Reed has done a lot of stuff over the years. And I was reading an article where a friend of his was talking about how Oliver called him one day and said, "Can you believe that Ridley Scott expects me to read to audition for him? I'm a star." And his friend said, "No, Oliver, you're not a star. You haven't worked in many, many years. So when Ridley Scott asks you to audition, you audition." And he did, and he ended up playing the role. Unfortunately, he actually, a lot of people don't know this, but he passed away during principal photography. And so they used CGI and, body doubles and some different tricks to kind of get through the film. But I found that interesting because it's a perfect example of one of those things where, you're about as popular as your last big gig. And you never know. Sometimes you have to audition and sometimes not.
Yeah, I do have to remind myself, you need to eat the slice of humble pie, I always feel happy with like my last hit, but then time goes by and like, well, no one else remembers it. So
exactly.
Keep my ego in line there. Do you hear all this stuff about The Rock? He's one of these characters that he seems like, because I hear two things about The Rock. One is he's like one of the hardest working people in Hollywood. He's like always there, ready to go with the project, and that's why he lands so many roles. But then I also hear things like, well, he's such a prima donna off set. He's so hard to work with, and I'm so confused at how both of those things could be true at the same time.
Well, they're probably not both true, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret, okay? I hope this doesn't come out wrong, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Okay. I trust you.
I don't think I behave like a prima donna at all. In fact, from my own experience with hundreds of voice actors and celebrities, TV and film personalities doing hundreds upon hundreds of event appearances with them, I genuinely think I'm kind of one of the more approachable, one of the more friendly, sociable, outgoing. I don't make any big demands. You could call any event that I've ever attended and ask them what kind of crazy, prima donna demands I made, and they would tell you none, because I don't. I don't make demands at all, and I don't think I'm a prima donna. And yet, this is where we're going with that, and yet there are people out there spreading garbage that I'm a prima donna. And I'm like, what do you base that? First of all, who are you? You don't even know what you're talking about. And second of all, I have never been a prima donna, but let me tell you what happens. When you aspire to a certain level in any field, you automatically subject yourself to ridicule, jealousy, professional jealousy, and people that just, there are people out there, Peter, believe it or not, that just can't stand to see other people succeed. It just rubs them the wrong way. You know what I mean? It's just like, why should he get to do this? Why didn't I get this opportunity? Why should he be this, or why should she get that, not me? And they get themselves so worked up about what they think they should have or think they deserve that they spread misinformation, negativity, and rumor and gossip about somebody who they see has done well, who has, reached a certain level in their career, and it's everywhere. I mean, no matter who you are, whether it's professional sports, whether it's music, whether it's voice acting, whether it's acting in general, no matter what it is, the moment that anything you do or say separates you or elevates you above the, you know what I mean? The hubbub and the norm, above the herd, so to speak.
Uh-huh.
You set yourself up for ridicule, you set yourself up for negativity and gossip. Unfortunately, it's just the nature of a lot of fields that there are a lot of people who wish they could be a part of. Like there are millions of people out there that would love to get into voice acting, or that would love to get into acting, or that would love to get into music. And all of those that want to get into it are kind of on the same level, right? They're all wanting to get into it. But so there are a lot of people fighting for those opportunities, right? There's a lot of competition, so to speak. And so I've seen it happen so many times where as soon as if you accomplish something that is rare and special, if you play a role, or if you create a podcast, or if you do something that you accomplish something that most people don't, at some point there will come a time when people, out of envy or jealousy, or just like I said, just their lives are not, they're not happy in their lives, and they can't stand to see other people happy. You remember the old adage, misery loves company.
Yes.
Well, that's true. That's true. That's why a lot of the things going on in the world right now are as they are, because people have some twisted idea about something, and it's not enough for them to have that opinion. They need to force it on you. They want more people to join their fringe cause, because that gives it more legitimacy, right? If it's just me touting my opinion, that's one thing. But if I can get 5 or 6 other people to tout my opinion, well, then, now I'm legit, you know what I mean? And that emboldens me. So, that's just par for the course, man. As soon as you differentiate yourself in any way, or accomplish something, like my Star Trek series, when you accomplish something like that, and of course, I didn't do it by myself, and I want to make sure all you guys out there hear me say this. I didn't do it myself. I don't take all the credit. I constantly, at every turn in every interview, acknowledge all of the good people, the volunteers that participated in making that web series. But it became very successful. It was very well received. We've got over 17 million viewers, and there are tons of fan productions out there of all varying levels of quality, right? And if you create something that kind of stands above the rest, sure, you're going to get a lot of this, right? You're going to get a lot of, man, what a great job. I love your series. And you're also going to get people who try to slander and, you know what I mean? And backbite and backstab and cause trouble, because they just can't stand that you achieved something where they did not, or you accomplished something that they didn't.
I completely agree. Unfortunately, that is human nature. I sometimes get
Sorry,
those
that was
feelings.
a bit of a rant, wasn't it?
No, it's okay.
But it's true. I'm sorry, it's just true. I've seen it too many times in too many different arenas not to know that it's true. So
I struggle with those feelings sometimes, where I feel like, God, there's an opportunity I want, and then someone else gets it, or there's some goal that I tried to, there's some hurdle I tried to clear and I was able to do it, but someone else did. And when those happen, I just have to tell myself, you know what, don't lean into it. Try to just be mentally well, be charitable, be kind. And usually if it's like on Twitter or something, and someone else, they do something well that I didn't, or something I wanted, I'll follow that person, or I'll say congratulations, or because
and therein, Peter, lies the difference between somebody of integrity and character and quality, and somebody who's just very self-centered, and you know what I mean, and like they're just all about, themselves and their own agenda. When you see somebody else accomplish something or create something great, you have one of two responses. Response 1 is it inspires you. It's admirable. You recognize the work that they put into it, and it inspires you and maybe even motivates you to do more, to work harder,
Definitely.
to make your show better, to perfect your skills. You know what I mean? To become better at what you do. That's option 1 response to seeing somebody else excel. Option 2 is to try to tear them down, is to try to talk garbage about them. If you're in a party setting or with a bunch of people or online and you're just pumping out these negative things and these cynical little jabs at them because you just don't like that they achieved something. So different people respond to the very same thing different ways depending on the kind of person they are. And you know what? I'll even confess to you, Pete, I've had those feelings. I mean, I've auditioned for things and I didn't get them. And then I saw who got them and I thought, wow, really?
Yeah, I've had that
But that's
too.
you see, that's my pride, right? That's my ego. So I could feel that feeling. And of course you can't stop feeling something. You don't have to indulge it. You don't have to post about it, but you can't stop yourself from feeling something. So I've had those feelings too, but I sure as heck didn't get on Twitter. I can't believe they cast that guy, right? Or if I could tell you some things about him, you know what I mean? Just to undermine somebody who achieved something that I didn't. So, I feel those feelings just like you and anybody would. But then the question is, what do you do with them? Do you act out on them, or do you just take them as fuel to get better, and to be better? There's a voice actor, and I'm not going to name his name, but he and I have been very, very good friends for many, many years. And I confessed to him once, we were at an event together, and I confessed to his face. I said, I have to confess, I'm a little envious of you. And he's like, what? Why? And I said, because I wish I were your age when I got involved in this industry. I mean, I wish I'd have gotten involved in it when I was younger, so I would have had more years to enjoy it, because I love the work that I've done. And I just confessed to him that I was a little envious, because he was getting some great roles. He's an amazing voice actor. He was getting cast in a lot of things, and he was succeeding, and I was very happy for him. But there was a little bit of envy, because I'm like, man, I did what I did, but 20 years older than this guy. What a lucky guy, But I did never get online and talk garbage about him or try to undermine his success. And therein lies the difference, how you handle those emotions when you feel them.
Definitely. I will say, Vic, and I mean, we definitely want to continue on this line. The fact that you hit it big and you got into voice acting, at the end of your 30s, beginning of your 40s, that's actually been an inspiration to me. I've had several times since I last talked to you where I'm feeling a little bit down. I'm like, well, Vic didn't make it till, he was a bit older.
Well,
I'm not
Grandpa
joking.
McNeil
It's
did
inspirational.
It, so I can do it.
I'm serious. It's inspirational. Look, for me, it's like, because I come from, similar to you, dad was around, broken home situation. I had to help raise my siblings. So I really didn't get to work on Peter, so to speak, in my career till my late 20s.
Right.
So in my mind, I'm just starting out. But in actuality, I should be, I'm mid-30s. I should be much further in my career than I am. But, you told me when we talked last that, you got started then. So I just tell myself, well,
Yeah.
I still have time. And what Vic could do it, I could do it.
I have something to tell you, and I want to say it to all and any and all who are listening to you or watching, who will watch or listen to this podcast, okay? Or this interview. There is no locked set textbook about you should have accomplished this by this age. There is no rule book. There isn't. I have gotten so many emails from fans over the years who say, I'm getting ready to graduate college and I don't know what I'm going to do, and I should have known by now, and I should have, I'm starting college and I should have picked a major, but I'm not sure what I want to do, or I just graduated and I don't know what to do now, and I should be further along. That's a lie. That's wrong. There is no I should be here. Every single person's journey is different. Yours is different from mine. Mine is different from others. Everybody, and I believe, and I know you know this, but I believe that God is in control of everything. I believe that he sees and understands and orchestrates the events of our lives. If I believe that, and I didn't get this certain role, well, I guess he didn't want me to have it, did he? Or if I don't get this opportunity, I guess it wasn't part of his plan that I have it. So, God opens doors at different times, at different ages, in different ways for everybody. The fact that I majored in film and minored in theater in college, and then after college, I did 4 or 5 different jobs that had nothing to do with either of those fields. But it never really occurred to me, oh, I should be making this much by now, and I should be further along in my career now, and I shouldn't be doing this. It has nothing to do with my life's goal and my career. Never really occurred to me. And so many people now get tripped up by that. They think based on, I don't know, social media, which is just problematic. Or
not helpful for the ego.
Yeah. So you're not going to, you often won't find a great deal of encouragement and support and uplifting on social media. It's usually the opposite. But whether it's social media or whether it's family members or friends or anything that people watch and go, man, look how far along they are, and they're only 27 and I'm 29 and I've never done anything. Those are just numbers. They mean nothing. I like you mentioned, I didn't start voice acting until I was in my late 30s. And really it didn't take off until early 40s. So I want to encourage you and everybody who watches or listens to this, don't beat yourself up. Don't be hard on yourself about what you've accomplished by a certain time, because what Theodore Roosevelt said. I do this daily devotional thing, and I came across a really interesting quote by former President Teddy Roosevelt, and it says, "Comparison is the thief of joy." The more you compare yourself, the more you look at other people and what they have or what they've done, and you compare yourself, it's not a recipe for joy. It's usually a recipe for depression or discouragement. And so don't compare yourself to other people. God's got a specific, particular journey for each of us.
I wonder with a lot of with the culture war stuff or the degradation of institutions, and you've said this before when it comes about why there's so much toxicity in the entertainment industry. You made this point. I was listening to you on Curry Smith. You talked about coming, I'm just going to paraphrase what you were saying, but you said, coming from a divorced family, you felt like you were unworthy of love, and that this is a common thing that people in media and entertainment feel, especially artists.
Yes.
Yes. And that's why you thought that maybe cancel culture had the same catalyst.
Absolutely.
I think that might be right. Because I think even though you may not have the most solid beginning, your mom was definitely there for you, and you seem like you've taken a lot of self-control and discipline, and then just a lot of insight from God. But I'm not sure many people have that. So they don't. So when they have these feelings, right? I'm angry about something, or I feel jealous. They don't have that part of them that says, well, let's put this in perspective, Peter. Let's look at the big picture.
I couldn't agree more. And you know what? I know people probably sometimes, here goes Vic talking about his faith again. Religion, Vic and his religious fanatic. Yeah, well, you know what? My faith and God's blessing and provision and guidance in my life has been essential. I can't imagine dealing with some of the things I've dealt with and not being able to depend on God. So I actually kind of feel bad for people who don't have that, because if they don't, they're kind of flying by the seat of their pants, right? They're kind of out there flapping in the wind, hoping for the best. You know what I mean? They're just trying to do it all themselves and trying to navigate these rough waters. And my wish for everyone, my desire and prayer for everyone is that they find and embrace, I should say, embrace a relationship with their Creator. If anyone even believes there's a God, it automatically necessitates that you respond to that knowledge, right? What do you do with that knowledge that you are not an accident? You know what I mean? You didn't just crawl out of some primordial ooze. You're not a chimp with no hair that's evolved. You know what I mean? You are a creation of God, and you were, as the Bible says, fearfully and wonderfully made, and that God knew every hair of your head before you were even born. If you know that and embrace that, then you can trust that God has a plan for you. He's not aloof. He's not, hanging out in heaven, playing skittleball with the angels. He is actively interested in your life and my life and a relationship with us. And he'll guide us in those paths and give us direction. But you're right. I'm currently reading a book right now called Worthy. And it discusses that. And almost everybody, if not everybody, struggles with this question at some point. Sometimes they struggle with it when they're in their adolescent years, sometimes during their teenage years, obviously, where you're kind of coming into more self-awareness, more independence, and then even into adulthood. I think everybody struggles with it. And once again, how you respond to those feelings is the most important thing. You know what I mean? What you do with those emotions. Nobody blames anybody for having emotions, right? Nobody can blame you for feeling something. But what you are accountable for is what you do with those feelings. If you allow those feelings to motivate you to do bad things, to do hurtful things to others, to undermine someone else's accomplishments, or, just because you want to feel more important, that's a recipe for disaster. So I think you're right. Everybody struggles at some point with that. Am I really worth being loved? Am I worthy of love? Am I worthy of friendship? Am I worthy, of being loved? And the answer is emphatically yes, but everybody has to come to that conclusion for themselves.
This is a good beat to stay on. I know you're a ridiculously big Star Trek fan. I don't know how much you like. Yeah, ridiculously big.
In your phone case. Star Trek Continues.
Nice. I was gonna say, I don't know if you're a big Next Gen fan or not. Have you seen Star Trek Picard?
You know what? That's a great question. I get that a lot. I was in college when Next Generation came out. And I was really excited before it came out. Like when I heard there was going to be a new Star Trek series, I'm like, yes, this is awesome. Now, keep in mind, I am a child of the original series of Star Trek. Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, that's my jam. Next Generation came out roughly 15, almost 20 years after the original series. And I wanted to like it. I was completely open to just loving it. But it didn't resonate with me the way the original series did. None of the subsequent Star Trek series resonated with me the way the original did. Now, I'm a live and let live kind of person, Peter. If you were to say to me, well, man, Next Generation's my Star Trek, I am the last person on the earth to go, well, you need to be destroyed then. You know what I mean? Like, you're an idiot. You're a loser. Star Trek, the original Star Trek's the only Star Trek. Live and let live, man. Everybody has a different Star Trek jam. Like the people that were born, or I should say were maybe in their adolescent years or teenage years when Next Generation came out, Star Trek Next Generation is their Star Trek. And then the people that were kids or became fans when Voyager came out, Voyager's their Star Trek. Deep Space Nine is their Star Trek jam. Enterprise is their jam. And now, 30 years later, Strange New Worlds is some people's Star Trek jam. Star Trek Discovery is some people's first introduction, and that's their primary love of Star Trek. Again, live and let live. People should be allowed to enjoy what they enjoy and leave it at that. There's a phrase in Star Trek that Mr. Spock coined. I don't know if you know this or not, but he had this amulet that he wore occasionally. It was like a pyramid, and he would wear it, and it stood for IDIC, IDIC. IDIC means, do you know? You look like you know. Do you know?
You're gonna have to say it. I'm sorry. It feels familiar.
That's fine. IDIC means, listen to this, and everybody listen to this. Our world would be an infinitely better place if people adopted this. Infinite diversity in infinite combinations. Whenever I see Star Trek fans trashing people or slandering people or causing trouble, I think to myself, did you ever even watch Star Trek? Do you not even understand what the foundational philosophy of Star Trek was? The whole foundation of Star Trek is that mankind, humankind, at some point in the future, put aside our petty little differences and our petty little selfishness and greed and opinions and came together as a unified human race and ventured out into space to make friends and to explore the galaxy. That is what Star Trek is all about. And it will never happen as long as our world is full of people who demand that you agree with them and demand that they're right and you're wrong, and demand that they're good and you're evil, and demand that you must be destroyed if you don't go along with their opinion. Infinite diversity in infinite combinations. Let people be themselves. Let them love what they love. Now, caveat, don't force it down other people's throat. That's where it's wrong. That's where you've taken it too far. And so that is my encouragement along those lines. I'm not a big fan of some of the subsequent series of Star Trek, but I certainly don't trash people that are. And I certainly understand that they're in love with whatever incarnation of Star Trek, was on when they first discovered it. And that's fine. Absolutely fine.
I feel like geeks, nerds, however we'll put it, are kind of in a weird place right now, because it feels like so many people just kind of want to be I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, are kind of want to be upset or kind of want things to be bad or angry. Like, for instance, I recently reviewed a game for the channel. I enjoyed it a lot. It came out, the game had some translation issues, so there were problems. And then so much of the stuff sent my way, like Twitter DMs, I'm getting emails, or like, how could you possibly like this game? How could you possibly defend it? And I was like, look, I mean, I'm not saying I agree with some of the choices they made creatively, but I enjoyed it. And I see so many people, like, if it's flawed or they feel it's a little bit woke or it doesn't quite fit, even if it's largely aimed for them. Like, there's the X-Men 97 show, and I feel like this is obviously probably a coping mechanism because we were under attack so long in the culture. But I feel like people need to kind of like relearn how to like be patient and try to enjoy things again, and sift the chaff from the wheat, see the value that's there. That, by the way, that's not how that biblical phrase is used whatsoever. Maybe it's just a muscle that we've atrophied, right? Because it used to be that way. I mean, obviously geeks have argued over stupid stuff since the beginning of time, but it feels like so often people just want to be mad, even on, for lack of a better term, our side. I don't see that being very helpful.
Oh, no, it's not. And it takes me back to something I said early on in our conversation. Misery loves company. That's your answer. The people that spout this kind of negativity, Peter, are not happy people. It's that simple. They are not content in and of themselves. And rather than spending the time to better themselves, for whatever reason that none of us can understand, they put their energy into trashing other people and putting down other people and challenging other people. I don't really know what they think will come from that, I mean, putting me down doesn't make you any better, does it? And that's the irony. Putting you down doesn't make me, dragging you down doesn't make me any higher. Another way somebody said it was, putting out your light will not make mine shine any brighter. So I'm not really sure what they hope to get from it. Like, and maybe I'm kind of snarky this way, but if I had been you and you made the game comment, right? And you did the critique on the game, the recap on the game, and you got these messages from people saying, I can't believe you didn't like this game. You know what I would have written back? What do you care?
Yeah.
How is this any of your business? You know what I mean? Like, what difference does it make to you in your life that I don't like a game that you like? You know what I mean? There it is again. It's a perfect example of, it's not enough that I have to have an opinion. You have to have my opinion too. Why? Because it makes me feel validated.
I agree. I just think it's one of these things our culture right now doesn't seem to like make being positive or enjoying things or building very easy.
Being positive takes more work, Peter. Being positive takes more work and more conscious effort, because it is in our nature to want to be combative. It's in our nature to want to find fault and to be selfish and self-centered, to think our opinion is more important than anyone else's, that kind of thing, we see that played out all over the place. Now, what's really unfortunate is those people have social media has given them a platform. I mean, think about it. Before social media, I may have a very strong opinion about something, and how many people are going to know what my opinion of that is?
Not many.
Just my inner circle, right? The people that I hang out with, the people that I may work with, whatever. But social media has completely changed the playing field. Social media now allows anybody, no matter how mentally or emotionally challenged they may be, to hop on their computer and spew whatever comes to their mind. And for the most part, everyone is powerless to do anything about that. Oh, that's free speech. Oh, great. Okay, well, let's just free speech ourselves into the toilet. I don't think it's ever going to get any better. I hate to say that. That may sound kind of cryptic, but you said something about, I wonder, when we'll get back to being more positive and more encouraging. I don't know that that's going to happen. I kind of feel like, and this, like I said, I'm sorry, but I think this is how I feel. I kind of feel like that train has left the station. You know what I mean? Like the course has been charted. The course has been selected. You know what I mean? And I mean, it's been chosen. And with every passing day, look at this garbage that's happening on university campuses, bro.
It's intense.
I'm sorry. Why aren't these children being arrested? They're destroying property that isn't theirs. I don't know about you, but that's called breaking the law, right? They're taking over buildings that don't belong to them. They're injuring and attacking innocent people simply because of their heritage. All of those things are not only morally wrong, they're against the law. And guess what? The people that are supposed to be in authority are doing nothing. You want a surefire way to encourage people to continue to break the law and to continue to vandalize and to attack others and all of that? Here's how you do it. Don't hold them accountable. Don't arrest them or apply the law to them. And then they're going to think, oh, well, I got away with it. And 1,000 other people are going to see that they got away with it. And that's just going to encourage more anarchy and more craziness. I can't believe that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get off on that, but it's current events. I can't believe that these people that are literally presidents of major Ivy League universities, one of their primary jobs is to provide a safe learning environment for the students. That may be one of their biggest jobs, right? And the moment a handful of students start creating a problem and literally like attacking other students, threatening other students, then breaking windows and taking over buildings and squatting on public property, that's not cool. And what do these presidents of these universities and these people in authority do? All the way up to the top of our government? Not a thing. They sit there wringing their hands instead of acting with the authority that they've been given and applying the law in these situations. I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it.
Using a biblical term, I really feel like this is a failing of stewardship, that no one actually wants to be the responsible adult. To some degree, I feel like that's part of what happened with you and everything that went down 5 years ago. It was like no one wanted to be the guy that said, no, this is wait a second, nothing here actually adds up. Like, no one wanted to do that job. If we were a mature society and these institutions and the people inside them were like, no, this is my job. I'm supposed to protect this institution. I'm supposed to stamp when it matters. But people don't want to do that. They want all the fun, but none of the responsibility.
Exactly.
That's how we get here.
Exactly. They want all of the perks and the benefits of a certain job or a certain opportunity, but they don't want any of the work or the responsibilities. You hit it right on the head. That is it right there. In fact, that's what drives a lot of people on social media. They don't want to put the time in to develop their skills in a particular field, or to, you know what I mean, or to work hard and to focus their energies and their skills and their talents on accomplishing something. That's way too hard. That's way too hard. It's much easier to just trash talk other people. It's much easier to just complain about things that you think are wrong, or your opinion of this, or your position on that. Well, that doesn't help anything. You know, and if those people were to take half the energy that they put into complaining or slandering or putting other people down, if they were to put that into actually creating something, actually building something positive, or investing in other people, not only would their lives be happier, but they'd make the world a better place. But once again, that takes too much work. And some people don't want to put in that much work. They want to be famous, but they don't want to do the work. You know, they want to be well known. They want 1,000 views on their video, but they don't want to put the work in. You know, they somehow think that they should just be popular for the sake of being popular. And if it's easier to take you down, to get popular by tearing you down, well, that's easy. I can do that from the comfort of my keyboard right here.
Yeah, you don't even need to put your pants on. I mean, you could just lay in bed or on someone's life.
You don't need to provide any, you know, and you know what? Everybody has different motivations. You know, everybody has their own reasons for why they do what they do. I'm not a mind reader. I can't answer for why everybody does the things they do. But like I said, the point at which you start hurting other people or ruining other people just for your own aggrandizement or because it makes you feel important somehow, that's where we are in this day. Regrettably, and you know what? And let me just say, I'm not speaking down on anyone. I've not named any names. I'm not about to, and I'm not even thinking of any one person in particular. This is what I have observed over the years. This is the trajectory that I've seen our culture going. And by the way, not to wax too religious again, but it follows very closely in line with the way things are going and the way things are supposed to go in prophecy and scripture. And so I don't set myself up as better or smarter or more enlightened than anybody. I have my own challenges and my own, my own struggles, just like anyone else does. But these are just things that I've witnessed, and this is my take on them. So that's just my opinion. You're free to take it or leave it. And once again, that's what it's supposed to be. People espouse their opinions. People can talk about their differences, and then they go have a drink, or let's go get some lunch. Let's go see a movie. You know, let's go bowling. You don't have to hate and despise and dream of the ruin of somebody who just doesn't agree with you or doesn't see things your way.
Okay, well, I think we have 10 to 20 minutes left. I was wondering, could I just go through here? Because you do have questions for your fans.
Oh, my goodness, yes. Yeah, I did. I kind of waxed a little verbose today, didn't I? I apologize for that.
Yeah, that's fine. A lot of people, that's what they want to see, and I think it's interesting. I'm glad I'm not alone in feeling that way on some of those things.
Yeah, my opinion is, I just want to reiterate this in case anybody missed it. My opinion means no more than anyone else's. But if I share something that resonates with someone, If they're like, yeah, I can see that. That makes sense. Great. But, I'm no better than anybody else. And these are just my thoughts based on what I've witnessed over the years. If somebody has a difference of opinion, I respect that in the same way I would want them to respect mine. Unfortunately, there's not a ton of respect going around these days. There's not a ton of respect for our fellow man and our fellow citizens,
Yeah. Okay, well, let's end on some positive notes. So I'll just not quite rapid fire. I don't know what's between slow and rapid fire.
Okay, let's try it. I'll try to give concise answers.
Okay. Someone wants to know, actually a lot of people ask this. What is your studio Anime Matsuri working on these days? You recently had the release of Zip Shimezo. Do you have other projects coming out?
Well, first of all, when we dubbed Zip Shimezo, we also dubbed another short film called Genba Nojo, and it was beautiful, beautiful film. My good friend and buddy Jacob Takanashi played the lead role in that. He did an amazing job, and we submitted both of those to Amazon, and unfortunately, Amazon felt like Genba Nojo was not long enough for them to release. It was just a short film. I would love to get that out for people to see because it's a great piece. But in answer to your question, we have made a lot of inroads with a couple of the major anime companies in Japan. The place where it's kind of bottlenecking, so to speak, is that licenses, to purchase a license to dub an anime series into another language, you need to buy that license, which amounts to tens of thousands of dollars that must be paid, and that's before you hire any translators, hire any adapters, hire any actors, cast any roles, book any studio time. That money that must be paid to purchase a license is the first step in the process, and there are plenty of other expenditures that come after. So we've got these opportunities. Now where we're at currently is we're working with several people on funding. We're talking to several different people about possibly funding the purchase of a series, whether it be a 12 or 13 episode series or something more. So that's where we are right now with Anime Matsuri. With AM Studios, I should say.
No, that covers up the following question. They wanted to know how the process goes about for getting films. Have you enjoyed, by the way, working in your own studio?
Oh my goodness, yes. I mean, oh yeah, we had the greatest time when we dubbed those two short films for Matsuri. We had the greatest time. That's
nice to hear.
I love it. I love directing. I love working with actors. I love creating something like that. And I hope I get to do more of it.
One person asked, are you ever interested in doing something like YouTube, perhaps being a VTuber?
I don't think so.
You feel pretty good with because you do a little bit of TikTok, a little bit of Instagram, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Well, I put out occasionally, put out things on my social media platform, but I feel like the main purpose of my social media platforms is not to spout my opinion about this or get into fights about that or argue about this, but I like to use my social media simply to promote, to encourage fans and to promote my appearances. I like to use my social media to hopefully be of some kind of encouragement or light or support to fans. And there are a lot of people out there dealing with a lot of things right now, and they need encouragement and prayer and support. So I try to do that. And then the main thing that I try to use my social media for is promoting where I'm going to be, letting fans know when I'm going to be at a particular event or if I'm working on this or that. But that's it. It's not for me to pontificate on, on my political opinions or my social justice thoughts or whatever. I prefer to use it in more positive ways, more constructive ways.
That makes sense. Plus, it's a lot of energy, a lot of time.
Yeah, and I know some VTubers, and it takes a lot of their time, and I hate to say it, but I'm a little too old, and I like my downtime a little too much to to lock myself into like, oh, I gotta record another show today.
Fair enough. Do you have any future projects outside of like anime or voice acting? Like, do you want to do another Star Trek project? Do you have new music you're working on? What are you interested professionally right now?
Well, as far as Star Trek is concerned, by the way, we haven't talked much about that, but if any of you are sitting there watching this going, what is this Star Trek series they keep talking about? I created a web series about 10 years ago, live action, called Star Trek Continues. We rebuilt the entire soundstage from the original series, and we produced 11 full-length live action episodes that pick up right where the original Star Trek was canceled and finish the 5-year mission, finish that show, wrap it up in a nice bow, and leave everybody where they were when Star Trek The Motion Picture came out. It's been very well received. I'm very proud of it. It's my baby. It's probably my legacy. It's probably the thing that I will leave, that I'm the most proud of when I'm gone. But I'm also working on a new album. I have 6 records, music CDs on iTunes, and I'm working on a 7th one right now. I've got tons of songs that I've written and produced over the years that I just have never released. So I'm going to be putting those on a CD. I've been doing a lot of audiobook work recently. Yesterday and the day before, I think I mentioned, I was recording a video game, which I'm very, very excited to be a part of. Appearances, signings around the country that I've got lined up. I've been talking with several different people about doing some more on-camera film acting work. So I keep very busy. As you know, I'll let your viewers in on a little secret. We were supposed to have this interview today, and I've got a box out in my kitchen right now full of items that I'm supposed to sign and return, like a bulk signing. I spent last night and this morning editing all of the lines that I recorded for this video game on Tuesday and Wednesday. I've got a friend in town I'm working on a project with, and I was supposed to go to his shop this afternoon. And so I asked Peter if we could reschedule, and he said, graciously, he said, sure. And then my friend needed to postpone it. So I messaged Peter back and asked him if we could put it back this afternoon, and he graciously agreed. So I've got a lot of things going on. I'm very, very blessed. I tell fans this all the time. You can either focus on what's not going well, what's not going right, what you wish were different, or you can focus on all you have to be grateful for. And I can promise you we all have a great deal to be grateful for.
I guess I'll limit us back down. Just 2 questions left. Okay. Someone wants to know, have you ever had the chance to meet William Shatner, and would you like the opportunity to work with him if you could?
Well, I've not only met Bill several times, but we've become friends over the years. He and I have had the opportunity to spend a lot of quality time together. We had the same booking agent. And so we got booked into a lot of the same shows. We became friends. We've had dinner together. We've smoked cigars together. We've gone to a lot of convention appearances and shared cars and I've been to his office in LA a few times. Just last year, he was doing an appearance with the Wrath of Khan. It was like the 30th anniversary or 35th anniversary or something. And he was doing a live screening where he came out after the screening and did a Q&A with the fans. And it was in Indianapolis. And I have a good friend in Indianapolis, and so he and I flew up there, and he and I went to it. And I sent a message backstage that I was there and would love to say hi to Bill if the opportunity arose. And sure enough, when the film was over and Bill came out and did the Q&A, and then he left, he went back, he went backstage, and everybody was exiting, I got a text message that said, "Hey, Vic, this is so-and-so. I'm the producer of tonight's event. Bill wants to say hi." So I went backstage and got to sit and chat with him a little bit and catch up with him. I love him. He is like I said, he's kind of the father figure and the role model I never had. So I love Bill. I love Bill Shatner.
Oh, that made me happy to hear. I mean, I guess you have such a love for Star Trek, and then you got to meet the guy, and it didn't turn out to be one of those horrible things where you're not supposed to meet your what do they say? Your
Never
idol?
meet your hero. Never meet your hero. Yeah.
No, that's nice. I like that.
I know people have mixed experiences with different actors that they go to events to meet, but I love Bill, and I'm very grateful to call him a friend.
Would you ever be interested this is my question, but if Paramount ever allowed you guys to, would you be interested in doing more projects like Star Trek Continues?
Well, I tell you what, as I mentioned earlier, we did what we set out to do. Granted, we only were able to make 11 episodes, but my goal from the very beginning was to finish the original series, to finish the 5-year mission of the Enterprise, to give that iconic series the closure that it never had, that millions of fans would love to see. So we did that. So when people ask me, would you ever do more? I probably wouldn't do more episodes because that would be kind of going backwards. You know what I mean? But I would love the opportunity. I don't know that it will ever arise, but I would love the opportunity to maybe make a feature film with my Star Trek Continues cast, make a feature film that picks up maybe somewhere in between the motion picture and the Wrath of Khan, and do a 2-hour feature film with our cast somewhere in that timeline. I don't know whether that will ever materialize, but if I were ever going to do anything related to Star Trek again, that would be the one thing that I would do.
Do you have any interest in doing something like audio drama or anything like that?
I've done several audio dramas over the years. I love them. They're great. I really enjoy them. I like doing them, but I mean, it really comes down to what opportunities you're given,
Yeah. I like audio dramas a lot too, but I don't know if they're the most popular format in the world.
Right. I don't know. I just enjoy the work. I mean, don't ask me how popular something is. I don't know. I just know, I like it.
Okay. This is the very last question. Someone, fan says, please ask Vic to sing "I'm Still Standing." Did you record it?
My goodness.
I don't know if they meant to sing it right now or to sing it like for your album. I'm assuming the latter.
It sounds to me like they expect me to sing it here, and they want. Did they ask you to record it?
No. No, I think they meant like you to record, like to sing it for your album. I had to find it. That
Well,
one was from Reddit.
I don't normally put things on my album that I didn't write. So my albums are typically original music of mine that I wrote. But I'm looking at the lyrics right here. Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't, like I said, I probably wouldn't record somebody else's song, but I'm still standing better than I ever did. Looking like a true survivor, feeling like a little kid. Don't you know I'm still standing after all this time? Picking up the pieces of my life without you on my mind. I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I didn't think I would do that.
Very nice. Very nice. That was great. Right there. I did the on demand.
Any other questions?
That is a fabulous way to end the show on. Thank you. Well, I have to look up the producer who asked that. Well, whoever you are, there you go. You got your wish.
Well, yeah. I hope. Now, when will this be broadcast? So you can.
This is recorded. So I think I told Sherry we are aiming for the 10th at the latest. But if I could get it out sooner, depends what me and my editor can work out.
Okay.
He and I, we both have jobs and stuff outside this, so it's kind of like
sure.
Figuring it out.
Well, and I apologize, if I got pretty serious about some of the things we talked about. I mean, those are kind of world events, and they're things that kind of swirl around in everybody's mind, I think. And I know we didn't talk as much about geek stuff and nerd stuff, but sometimes a deeper conversation is in order.
It is. Well, I had fun, Vic. Thank you so much for taking the time to the show. I'm just going to do the wind up.
My pleasure, Peter. Thanks for having me, buddy.
No, I know. I think talking to you now the second time, I think part of me thinks it's so cool because I looked up to your work as a voice actor for so long, and you just seem like a decent guy, and you really try hard to put yourself out there to be kind to other people. And I've been trying to do more of that myself because I think it's important. I think showing some Christ-like kindness, some affection, modeling better behavior, I think it's the only way out of so much of this mess. And really, it's what people want. It's what they need.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone, for taking the time to watch CultureScape. The show is helped put together by the good folks at Bain Books Publishing, an imprint of Simon Schuster, and Young Voices, a journalism advocacy organization. This show wouldn't be possible without my wonderful editor, Chris Hollywicki, who it makes me look way more competent than I actually am. And of course, to all of you, my friends, watchers, listeners, you guys are the best. You're the reason why I keep doing this. So until next time, everyone, keep geeking out.